And of course, we're going live Thursday the 26th, last day of the work week for me. Yippee-ki-yay, woohoo, and all that sort of stuff. Well, today, you got a picture here of a camera, some film, and that reminds me that a thing happened this morning, close to noon, in South Carolina, and I wish I had this camera and this film and could be out there. Let me talk to you about it. Don't laugh, because somebody or something has landed. There was a fireball in South Carolina, and it just went over 3 states, crashed in South Carolina, and I believe it was a UFO. Don't laugh. I believe it was an extraterrestrial vehicle. I don't know where it came from. I don't claim to. Let me read you what I got here, okay? All right, here we go. There's an old saying among pilots. I might tell you this real quick. They say that any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. All right? That seems to be the case in this story, but I would re-quote this one and I would say, I don't know, any landing you can be carried away from under military secrecy and escort isn't necessarily a good landing, okay? This is not good. A massive fireball, big like burning ball of fire, was dismissed by officials. They say it was a meteor and that it burned up in the atmosphere. It shot across the daytime sky all over the southeastern U.S., or at least in Virginia, Georgia, South Carolina. There was the usual number of 911 calls going into sheriff's departments, National Weather Service, FAA, Air Force. We'll talk about them in a minute here. Video shared on social media shows this blazing ball begin to descend and goes down just past the tree line off of a South Carolina highway. The National Weather Service watched it, detected it, and actually tracked it right up until it landed. This flaming object, it was seen to set down on a farm in wide open. If I'm going to make a crash landing, I'm going to look for some open field too. And that's what it apparently did. But now that area is under government quarantine. It took less than 2 hours from sighting and landfall for the government to be all over that thing like stink on shit. They were on it, baby. A statement by Colonel Breits, Breits, of the United States Space Force says, yes, here's a Space Force quote for you people. I'll try to sound like him. Quote, "We have temporarily cordoned off 5 acres of land for public safety. Whenever a meteor of this size hits the ground, it poses possible radiation hazards to the public. When the area is reported safe again, we will reopen the local road and allow civilians back on the site. Keep in mind, it is still private land, so you'll need the owner's permission." End quote. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you for saving us from this meteor. Well, that's not what it was. That's what you're saying. Now, we at Max Media reached out to the landowner. We found him, David Lawrence. He's a farmer. He says, here's his quote, "I've seen those Army men hauling something off on a huge truck. Whatever it is, it's undercover, so you can't really see what's under there. I've seen them, soldiers, hauling away a lot of debris, too. I'm not allowed anywhere near where it landed, but damn it, it's my land." End quote. I can understand him being upset it is his land. Well, I guess the government is taken to collecting and analyzing meteorites now. Something big enough to require a huge-ass semi-trailer truck. Anyway, if you ask me, it's fishy. It stinks. It doesn't pass my bullshit meter. Locals have seen a number of black helicopters. Yes, I know. Black helicopters, no identifying marks, flying over the area in unusual patterns and hovering over the farm. Eyewitnesses also reported busloads of soldiers being taken into the site and less than an hour later being taken out of the site. What's going on here? Soldiers, helicopters, Air Force protecting us, Space Force protecting us. One woman was detained for over 4 hours before they let her go with a warning, and they said, "Do not come back." Interesting. We're trying to find her. Still having a hard time figuring out who she is, why she was there, and why they detained her. Now, I think they've carted off a UFO, an extraterrestrial vehicle, and with possibly living occupants. Now, wait a minute. How could I possibly know anything was living in the spaceship? Here's how I know, jackass. Listen up. Locals saw at least 2 ambulances enter the site, green-colored military ambulances, and leave under military escort. And they didn't go to the hospital. They went to another open field where they were met by this huge Huey helicopter, and they loaded 2 gurneys into the chopper. Those gurneys were covered with what looked like an inflatable tent or a dome. This according to Alan Anonymous and his wife, who saw and described what it would look like if you had 2 living quarantine creatures on those gurneys. They put them on the chopper. Choppers left. And as of, where is it now? 9 o'clock their time. Okay, as of now, I understand the military is bugged out, and they've left the land back to the farmer. And we'll know more as the story, as more comes to light. My opinion, I think a spaceship landed hard. I think they scooped it up, put it on the truck. I think they had at least 2 survivors that came from it. I think they put them in gurneys, put special suits around them. That's why they threw them on a helicopter and took off. That if they had been civilians or soldiers injured, they'd have taken them to nearby Wendwood Hospital. But they didn't do that. They didn't take him to the hospital local, put him on a damn Huey. Took him away. Well, it's more of the same old, same old. Government doesn't want us to know. They're too busy trying to feed us their lies, and we're too eager to read and listen to their lies. But if you ask me, MUFON should be all over this like stink on dog shit. But that's just my opinion. I think that to not believe there is extraterrestrial life is so much hubris. I mean, we are the only intelligent life in the universe. Kiss my you-know-what. I cursed enough. To hell with you, whatever, listen or don't. But that's my UFO report, and I'm sticking with it.